Welcome, my name is Jesse and you are listening to The Wake Up Call. This show is about opening your eyes to how you've been living, bringing awareness to the standard you've been operating at, and helping you start living to your full potential. There are two ways I'll help you do this. One, by disciplining your mind, and two, by strengthening your body. It's time to take stock of your current performance and go to the next level. Let's do this. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Wake Up Call. This is episode 96. And as I get closer and closer to the landmark episode of 100, it's given me some time to kind of reflect and think about, the journey of this show, but also about why I sort of began it in the first place. This podcast came about at the time that the coronavirus, the COVID-19 pandemic was rampant. And the project of, my podcast, this podcast, was floating around through my head, and it was an idea that I'd thought about doing for quite a long time. And I kind of made some, there was a little bit of a limiting factors, an internal dialogue that I kind of had to overcome. And I thought at that time, I was like, you know what? Now's as good a time as any for me to actually release this thing. I have a unique message. I have certain beliefs. I have a unique skill set that I can share with the world. And I'd be doing, not just myself, but I'm doing everybody who, is now a regular listener of this show a disservice if I didn't get this message out there. And really one of the internal dialogues that I kind of had to overcome was the fact that what if people don't like what I have to say? And it was a legitimate kind of thought process at the time. I no longer believe that. And the reason I no longer believe that is because people are always going to have an opinion about you. You might walk out one day and say, it looks like a nice day. And someone might be like, no, it doesn't. Look at that grey cloud over there. If you look really close and you grab your binoculars, you can go and see it. But the matter of fact is this. People are always going to have an opinion about you, Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. Okay? You're always going to have someone in your life who doesn't like you. That's just the way the world works. It's just the way things are. Okay? You're going to have people who think you're a bit weird. I put my hand up. I am a weirdo. Like, if you know me personally, you know this to be true. You know all of my weird little quirks and tics and things that make me unique. And I now embrace that shit, And you have to try and do this to you for yourself and your own life as well. And make no mistake about it, there will be people in your circle, certain individuals who you interact with, who believe that you are just made a little bit differently. Maybe they poke fun of you and say you're a bit special, or you've got certain things that, just rub them the wrong way. And that's completely fine. Like, you're never going to make every single person happy. Okay? What I have found over my 30 years on this planet is this. If you try to make everybody else happy, you yourself end up unhappy because you're no longer satisfying your own personal need. You are foregoing your own primary need of looking after yourself, and you're trying to basically please everybody else, which is a disservice to you. So, in order for you to be your best, it starts with you. You must focus on you. And all of that comes with it. Your uniqueness, your tics, your little quirks. It's completely normal. And this podcast isn't going to be about training. It's about you as an individual. Again, it's a topic that needs to be spoken about, is the mindset. It's the psychology of running your own life. Running you. Getting control of your thoughts, your mindset. And like I said, the people who don't like you, who think you're a bit weird or, a bit of an outcast or an outlier, they might perceive it as a positive or negative. You're going to have some people, and you'll know the people who I'm talking about straight away. You'll have some people who will look at you and be like, Jesus, Jesse, you're absolutely weird, man. What the fuck's wrong with you? I've had people say that to me fairly regularly, and I don't really give a shit anymore. But then there's going to be these other people who look at you and they're going to smirk and be like, oh, fuck, man, just you're a weirdo. I fucking love that. So different. It's unreal. Those are your people. That's your tribe. They like you for you. You're not putting on a facade. You're not putting on a mask. You're not putting on a play or a performance to please these people. You're just living your true identity. Okay? And this is something that has taken me a long time to really get to grips with. And there's been a lot of learning, a lot of trial, error, and experience is probably the best way that I have learnt to get to this point. But the main thing here is trying to make yourself happy. So this means you got to try not to concern yourself with the opinion that others have of you. Just be you. If you like fishing, go fishing. If you like going for, treks in the mountain, go trekking in the mountain. Just do the things that work for you. Be different. Be weird. Be the outlier. And this is something that I think gets bred out of us or a little bit through our lifestyle is, when you're a kid, you get told you can be whatever you want. So, people say, oh, I'd like to be an astronaut. I'd like to be a fireman. I'd like to be this, that, and the other. And it's like, cool. There's a lot of imagination, a lot of creativity behind that. And then as we get older, you get told, play it safe. Stay realistic. You can't do that. That's not what people do. And all this stuff kind of just starts fizzing out and disappearing. So everybody starts to become like everybody else. But I'm here to tell you that being different is a gift. And it is a gift that nobody can take away from you except you. And there was a period in my life where I felt extremely different to everybody I would surround myself with. The people who I would work with, my teammates at football. I thought I was a complete and utter weirdo. And I was. But I buried it at the detriment of everything in my life. My career, my football, my personal development, everything. And it took one book. There was one book that I read. And when I read it, it all finally made sense. I should have just kept doing what I was doing. Kept being my weird self. Kept being different. Kept going against the status quo because I didn't believe it. Everybody was going to the left. I was going to the right. I'm going to share a very small story with you, which I think is an important concept for you to grasp because you will have wrestled with issues like this in your own life. One of my students has just finished 75 Hard. And if you've been listening for a while, you know that I did 75 Hard last year. But one of my students has just finished the program. And they've done a bit of journaling about the experience. And if you don't know what 75 Hard is, if you don't know what the program is, I suggest you Google it. Just type in hashtag 75 Hard. And you'll see exactly what it is and what it involves. But it's a mental toughness program. But anyway, upon reflection and some journaling of the experience, there was a note and a passage that said that people just didn't get it. The program requires you to do certain tasks and activities every single day for 75 consecutive days. If you miss a day, if you miss an action, you go back to day one. At the end of this program, there is no parade. There is no press conference. There is no trophy. There is no medal. There is nothing that is handed to you as a well done. But there is the satisfaction and there is a complete transformation that has happened over that 75-day period that makes you a different person. If you've never gone out and stood on your own, you don't know what I'm talking about. If you read about 75 Hard and you don't get it, you won't get it. this is an interesting thing. People are not always going to understand why you do what you do. People aren't always going to be on board with why you do what you do. People aren't always going to be on your team. That is not your problem. How people react and respond to what you do is not your problem. You are doing what is in the best interest for you and your life. How people react to that is their choice. They get to decide how they react and respond to how you live to get the best possible outcome for you. So, if you're pursuing greatness within yourself, so I'm not saying you're looking for, external validation or a trophy or someone to give you a big round of applause. If you are on the path to self-improvement, expect to be different. And expect that you will be required and will do things that other people don't comprehend. They'll just look at you and shake your head and be like, it doesn't make sense. It's like you're speaking another language. They just won't get it. And that's completely fine. All the time. It's not like I'm doing it to brag. It's just something that I do. I tell people I have a cold shower. Like the other day was probably the coldest shower of the year so far. It's freezing, fucking cold. Had to really battle my inner bitch voice and just get it done. But I explain to people that I take cold showers. I don't care what their response is. Some people are like, you're an idiot. Just have a hot shower. No, I won't have a hot shower. At least not in the morning, because I have my cold shower in the morning. I know why I do it. That's more important to me than living a certain way that is going to maybe make me fit in the mold of everybody else. Everybody takes hot shower in the morning, so that means I do. Fuck that. I take the cold shower because I know it's important for me and what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to achieve. And the same thing needs to be said for you. You don't need anybody else's approval or validation. You need your own approval and validation. You don't have to be the same as everybody else. You don't have to follow the same path as everyone else. You don't have to agree with everyone else. Christ, this is something that absolutely drives me up the wall, is people think that you now cannot have a conversation or a debate without being friends with the person. I have some deep conversations and, debates with people who are my best mates, and we still get along fucking fantastically. You can have a different opinion and still like somebody. You don't have to group yourself with people just because you think that's what you're supposed to do. If I have... I don't know how to explain it to you guys. It's... If you think the sky is blue and someone thinks it's grey, you don't have to side with them and say it's grey. If you believe it's blue. Have that conversation, have that debate. For me, the sky looks fucking blue. After you've had that dialogue or conversation or, bit of back and forth, you still go out and have a coffee and have something to eat. You can still be friends. Just because you don't agree on something doesn't mean you have to go on side with them or change your beliefs. Be different. Embrace your differences. Everything that makes you different. The way that you operate, the way that you think. That's what makes you special. That's what makes you, you. I want you to imagine something for a minute. I want you to imagine that your life is a movie. Okay? There is a movie starring you. You are the lead role. So the spotlight is on you. Okay? You are the star. You are the director. You are the producer. And you are in charge of the supporting cast. The backup personnel on the scene. On the cast. Okay? Imagine that. You're holding all of the cards here. You are in full control. You are directing this movie. What does your life look like? Who is in your life? Who is currently in your life and you think, fuck, that makes for a terrible movie. This person is a disease and needs to be cut out of my life right now. They are making this movie terrible. They are destroying my life. Again, you're in charge. In this movie, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Do you let your weaknesses, hamper the quality of your movie and the outcome that you're trying to achieve? Or do you fix it? What obstacles are you going to have to overcome? What is your hero's journey? If you don't know what the hero's journey is, I suggest you look it up. But a very shortened version is that you're going through your life and then you are faced with some form of obstacle or dragon. This is basically something is put in front of you. It is a big challenge that is going to impede you on your path to wherever it is you're going. So you've got two choices. You can either confront the problem and start chipping away at it to decrease the size of the problem and then get past it and then build a better life and a better scenario and come out of the other side victorious. Or you go to this dragon and the dragon repels you. It's a little bit too big for you. And then you run away. You retreat. Doesn't sound like a very good fucking life. That's not the movie that I'd like to go and see. You've got this awesome starring role, this lead actor or actress. Absolutely, they're looking for an incredible journey. Oh, one small obstacle, difficulty posed to them. Nope, they go and retreat into a cave. It's dark, and you sit there watching this movie. Person maybe looks out of the cave a little bit. Oh no, the dragon's still there. Go back into the cave, retreat. Maybe one day you go out and peek. Oh, it's gone. So you tiptoe out of that cave, and fuck it, it's still there. So that's what you do, back and forth. You go in, you peek out. No, the problem's still there. It still exists. Back off I go, retreating in the dark, cold cave. Is that what you want your life to look like? And right now you might be thinking, Jesse, that sounds terrible. Like, I'm not a director. I'm not in film. But what I'm explaining to you is very, very common. People are faced with these problems every single day. People who have been overweight for 10, 20 years because they're too afraid to actually confront the problem and fix it once and for all. For the people who are so weak and, they can't go and have that conversation with their boss. Or ask that girl out. Or ask for a raise. Or to maybe cut somebody out of their life because they're afraid of having a confrontation. This hero's journey it's all around you. There are so many examples of this in your life. And you know what is the dragon for you. You know the thing that scares the shit out of you and you're like, fuck, I would like that problem to be gone, but I don't want to have to deal with it myself. I just want it to be magically fucking out of my life. But here's the thing. You're the lead actor. You're the director. You're the producer. You have to deal with it. How you deal with it is completely up to you. So my advice to you is this. Do not hand over the script of your movie. So the movie is your life. Do not hand it over to anybody else. Do not let anybody else take out the pen and paper from your hand to start writing the script. You are the one who has the pen. You are the person who is in charge of designing the script. Changing what you don't like. Inserting what you would like more of. Removing what you would like less of. And then you can adjust things as you see fit. Maybe you don't like the people who are currently in your life. So you would maybe replace a couple of those support cast and find some new people. Or maybe you just go without those support cast. The backup crew. Maybe you don't have a backup crew. Maybe it's better to actually live without them. Ultimately, your life can be boring. You can have the same story, the same script, the same life as everybody else. Or you can make it different. You can make it unique. I suggest you go and do that. Be different. Go and stand out. Be a weirdo. And do what is necessary for you to have the life that you're proud of. You're not living your life for anybody else. Or at least I hope you're not. It's time you become your authentic self. Because that's your best self. Go and live it. Be unique. Be different. Just be yourself. If you loved the Wake Up Call, found it entertaining, or got some benefit out of listening, I would appreciate you helping me to spread the word. Please share it with a friend or on social media so that you can pay it forward and give someone else the opportunity to improve themselves like you just have. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon for another episode.